Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Investing Kev. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at Bilibili, ticker BILI. We'll take a look at their company overview, their financials, their most recent second quarter report that was released last week, their outlook, risk factors, price target, and I will provide my final thoughts. For full disclosure, I do own shares of Bilibili, but always do your due diligence. I want this channel to be educational and informative so you can make objective decisions in your investing journey. I will never tell you to buy any stock. That's your decision, and you need to figure out what aligns with your investment goals, risk tolerance, and timeline. Also, we are very close to 100 subscribers, so if you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think. If you want to follow my investing journey where I invest in 4 different investing strategies, the link to the spreadsheet will be in the description box below. Alright everyone, let's get started. Taking a look at their company profile, Bilibili represents an iconic brand and a leading video community for younger generations in China. With their initial website launch back in June 2009, they provide full-spectrum video content serving diverse interests and have built their engaging community around inspiring users, high-quality content, talented content creators, and a strong emotional bond among them. Their mission is to enrich the everyday life of young generations in China. They provide users with all the videos you like as their value proposition. In their community, users and content creators discover and interact with diverse content encompassing different interests, from lifestyle, games, entertainment, anime, and tech and knowledge to many. They also enable broad video-based content consumption scenarios centered around professional user-generated videos or PGUV, supplemented with live broadcasting, occupationally generated videos or OGV, and more. They have become the welcoming home of diverse cultures and interests and the destination to discover cultural trends and phenomena of young generations in China. They have established unparalleled leadership among Generation Z Plus or Gen Z Plus, individuals born from 1985 to 2009 in China. According to iResearch, they are viewed as the golden cohort in China's video-based industry as they are the driving force and trendsetter of all kinds of consumption in China. Looking at their financials, you can see the net revenues from 2016 at 523 million renminbi, which has gone up every single year to a massive 12 billion renminbi in 2020, which is roughly 1.8 billion US dollars in net revenues. Their cost of revenues have increased as well, but you can see their gross profits have been in the positive for 5 years and counting. This is a growth stock in a very competitive industry, so you can see their operating expenses rising every year, which results in them being an unprofitable company for the time being. I don't expect Bilibili to be profitable for the foreseeable future because there are many factors that will force Bilibili to compete if they want to be one of the leaders in their industry. As they mature as a company and build a moat, I'm hoping they'll be able to scale down some of their expenses and get closer to generating a profit eventually. Looking at the balance sheet, their assets are more than their liabilities, which is good to see. I don't see any financial constraints that will put a lot of pressure on this company, which will allow them to be in a healthy financial point to continue growing their business and expanding and building their brand. Looking at their second quarter results released last week, there's a lot to like from what they presented. Their second quarter highlights include total net revenues reaching 4.5 billion renminbi, which is roughly around 700 million US dollars, a 72% increase from the same period in 2020. Their average monthly active users, also known as MAUs, reached 237.1 million, and their mobile MAUs reached 225 million people, representing increases of 38% and 44% respectively from the same period in 2020. Their average daily active users reached 62.7 million people, a 24% increase from the same period in 2020. And their average monthly paying users reached 20.9 million people, a 62% increase from the same period. At the same time, their users remain sticky and engaged, with the average user time spent on Bilibili rising to an impressive 81 minutes per user per day, which is the most they've seen in the second quarter throughout their operating history. Their continuous growth was driven by a more balanced revenue mix, particularly from their advertising business, which grew over 200% year over year, representing 23% of their total net revenues. Their monthly paying users also grew substantially, reaching 20.9 million people, and their paying ratio improved to 8.8%, compared with 7.5% in the same period last year. They say their fundamentals are really strong, with a cash reserve of 27.6 billion renminbi, which will help support their long-term growth strategy. Their revenues from mobile games was slightly lower than 2020, but it was pretty much on par at 1.2 billion renminbi. Their revenues from value-added services represented an increase of 98% from the same period of 2020, mainly attributed to the company's enhanced monetization efforts, led by increases in the number of paying users for the company's value-added services, including the premium membership program, live broadcasting services, and other value-added services. In the advertising segment, they saw an increase of 201% from the same period of 2020. This increase was primarily attributed to the further recognition of Bilibili's brand name in China's online advertising market, as well as Bilibili's improved advertising efficiency. And looking at e-commerce and others, they saw an increase of 195% from the same period of 2020, attributed to the increase in sales of products through the company's e-commerce platform. With an increase in revenues, they also saw an increase in operating expenses. Their sales and marketing expenses went up 107% year over year. This is due to the increased channel and marketing expenses to promote their apps and brand, as well as the promotional expenses for the company's mobile games and an increased headcount in sales and marketing personnel. They also saw a 109% increase in their general administrative expenses and a 104% increase in their research and development. Looking at their outlook, this company is growing during a time when video consumption is becoming a massive industry. There is so much content to consume, and although Bilibili does focus on the Gen Z plus range, video consumption is for everyone. Look at this article. Bilibili is confident in doubling user numbers in 2 years. The segment is expected to reach 1.8 trillion yuan, which is $274 billion in revenue, generated by nearly 1.2 billion domestic video users by 2025, according to iResearch. Bilibili also prides itself on boasting a committed fan base. Users must pass a 100-item test covering online etiquette and other chosen topics to become official members who are eligible to comment on posts. What I like about this company is that outside of growing their fan base, they're growing their revenue diversification. They're not just dependent on mobile games. They have value-added services such as premium memberships, they have advertising, and their e-commerce and other sectors are growing really well. Looking at risk factors, with all the news of Chinese stocks within the past few months, the government is the number one risk factor, whether domestically or internationally. I will say that I really believe things are overblown. If you read up on the data and privacy protection laws, they are very straightforward and reasonable. Other countries and regions of the world have implemented this stuff already, some more strictly than others, such as the European Union. And down the road, other countries will be doing the same thing. As long as they adhere to properly handling data, they don't illegally collect it, and they participate in data sovereignty, then they'll make it out okay. There's this interesting podcast I listened to a few days ago where one of the guests, Kendra Schaefer, provides a really detailed picture on understanding China and data a lot better, and I will have a link in the description below. Alongside with government comes social responsibility. Looking at the quote from the second quarter release, they said they were going to focus more on social responsibility. This is something that will be permanent, as recently Xi Jinping talked about distributing wealth from the rich to the poor and helping lead efforts in developing China. Articles such as Tencent donating $15 billion, Pinduoduo donating $1.5 billion US, and I expect that Bilibili will be doing the same. Look at their 2020 environmental, societal, and governance performance highlights. On the bottom right, you can take a look at social responsibility. There were 3.1 billion video views related to environmental protection. They supported to build their dream primary school and build their beautiful primary school. They had over 117,000 students that benefited from the series of Bilibili courses, and they had nearly 1,600 users apply to be volunteer teachers in rural schools. The next risk factor is competition. Bilibili is already dealing with a lot of competition and will continue to do so against the likes of Tencent, Douyu, iQIYI, Huya, Kuaishou, and many more. All these companies will continue to put a lot of money to growing their brand. And like I talked about before, Bilibili's operating expenses continue to go up every single year. Their R&D expenses have gone up, their marketing expenses have gone up because they can't be complacent. They will need to continue to invest quite a lot of money for the foreseeable future, so that's definitely a concern, as this company may invest heavily in growth, but that growth may not net them any profitability for a very long time. This is definitely a concern if they can't continue to grow their market share and if they can't continue to grow their subscribers. Looking at their price targets, I'm going to show you tip ranks and CNN, but definitely be aware that these numbers will likely be updated eventually given the current climate of Chinese stocks. At tip ranks, 8 analysts have given a 12-month average price target of around $114, which is a 45% upside from its current price. The high is $175 and the low is $76. At CNN, 34 analysts have given their average of around $113, which is on par with tip ranks. The low is $61 and the high is $182. Looking at their stock chart, last month they were around $115 and now they're currently at $78. This is a drop of $37, which is a 32% decrease. Within the past few days, they've had a $14 increase, which is a 21% increase. No one knows what the future will hold and if their share price may go down again, but if you have conviction in your holdings, dollar cost averaging is a great strategy to average out your share price through the good times and the bad times. All in all, competition is fierce, but Bilibili has made a nice name for itself. They're growing their brand, they're growing their moat, and they're finding ways to diversify their revenue streams. I will be following their financials periodically, and my hope is that this company can be more efficient, reduce expenses eventually as they become more mature. But for a projected 1.8 trillion yuan or $275 billion industry by 2025, video platforms will need to pay up or get left behind. With all the news of Chinese stocks going around, the data and privacy stuff doesn't worry me at all, and the social responsibility that these tech companies have taken upon themselves not only benefits society, it helps build their image, but also helps them working with the government. If you liked this video and you found it educational, please give a thumbs up, please subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. As always, stay safe and I will see you all next time.